Good evening and welcome to episode 4 of Meno Mondays. My name's Heather and I'm a menopause coach who supports women to look and feel amazing, to sleep better, to have more energy, and to live life to the fullest. And most importantly, feel like themselves again. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about hormones that are out of control and who you can go and see. But before we get into that, I just wanted to explain quickly about Meno Mondays. So these are questions that I have been receiving from women who have asked me things around menopause. And I decided to start this Meno Mondays to answer those questions. So if you've got anything that you particularly want answered, please feel free to reach out to me. And if someone's got that question, someone else may be interested in it. So this was a good way of just answering questions that people are wondering about during their transition through menopause or to help someone who's going through menopause. So, as I say, today's topic is about hormones and what do you do when they're out of control? Who do you go and see? A quick recap. So, episode 1 was my story about why I'm doing this, how I'm turning my mess into this message. The second episode, we looked at the most common and the not so common symptoms and, why I believe that it's important to have the symptoms where you can use them to have discussions around your work with people that love you, what you're going through, and just for yourself. Then the third episode, we looked at HRT and the benefits. What does it do for you? Where do you get it? What comes in? And also, just to add on to that, since the last episode, prescriptions of HRT, the amount has gone down in England and Ireland, which is fantastic. It would be good if they were free, because in Scotland and Wales, we get it free. So, back to today's topic. Who can you go and see for managing your symptoms apart from seeing the doctor? So maybe you can't take HRT or you choose not to take HRT. It's not the end of the world. There are many different types of professionals out there, people who have lived experiences like myself who share their knowledge on what has worked for them. But today we just wanted to also explore other ways or other people that you can actually go to be able to manage your symptoms, whether you are on HRT or whether you're not. So there are lots of different treatments available for menopause symptoms. HRT is prescribed by doctors. Doctors also prescribe something that you can take over the counter, like supplements. But the alternative therapies, such as acupuncture, different types of yoga, meditation, hypnotherapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, or even naturopath. What to remember in all this is what works best for one person might not work as well for somebody else. So, first, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. I'm no expert in any of these fields. So, I'm going to give a very brief overview of these practices, but I'll also try and speak to people to get people to come in who are experts at this and we can interview them about what they do. So, first, there's your doctors. Try and find a doctor who has more knowledge of menopause. Because believe it or not, according to research done and posted in May 2021 by a lady called Diane Drunsbeck, she's the founder of Menopause Support. And under the Freedom of Information Act, she put in a request to 33 medical schools in the UK. And despite the fact that there are approximately 13 million perimenopausal or postmenopausal women in the UK, almost half, so that's a staggering 41% of the 32 medical schools who responded to the survey, did not have a mandatory menopause education program for their students. This means some doctors may leave university with no education in menopause at all. So, my advice is when you go to see a doctor, find one who has experience in menopause or ask to be referred to a menopause clinic. Another option you can consider is acupuncture. So, what is acupuncture? It's an ancient Eastern method that uses needles at specific points on your body. And it does this to improve your blood flow and it helps to stop inflammation. And it also eases pain. For example, pains that you might get in your joints. And I want to give you an example of my mom. So my mom had broken her leg in 8 places and we went to see an acupuncturist because I'd just been walking in the mall and they'd seen her limping and called us over. And because we're really waiting for my son, we really had nothing better to do. We went in and they explained about what acupuncture was. And my mom decided to give it a try. And I promise you, every time she had the acupuncture done, she'd take about 3 sessions and she would not use a walking stick at all for the remainder of the coming months. It would obviously, when she didn't go like after 8, 9 months, she would start to feel the pain again. But it was so amazing for me to see her not being able to use her walking stick because she'd been using it for years before she started this acupuncture. So that's my experience of seeing somebody whose pain was eased through acupuncture. It is also good because it focuses on balancing the body, and therefore it's ideal to people with menopause, because when we have menopause, it leaves our bodies hormonally unbalanced. So that's good for balancing the hormones in the body. When you go and see an acupuncturist, they take into account your physical, your mental, and your emotional history. They work to create a treatment protocol that works with your body and takes into account your ever changing symptoms. As we know, symptoms for menopause can change at any time. So they take all that into account. It's often used alongside conventional medicine to treat menopause symptoms. In a Danish study that was carried out in 2017, they found out that 5 weeks of acupuncture in women with menopausal symptoms helped to reduce their hot flashes, their sleep disturbances, and their emotional problems. But if you're terrified of needles, you can always try other methods. So, another way that you can use to manage your symptoms is through yoga. There are many different types of yoga, and I believe the one that's most beneficial for women going through menopause is one that incorporates a series of poses and stretches and movements to help your body to move and to relax. It's great for helping you to feel better physically, emotionally, and mentally. And that's exactly what we need during menopause. There are different types of yoga practices out there. Some focus on flexibility, while others focus on strength training or meditation techniques. But they all have one thing in common: they work wonders on our body's ability to adapt and to change, while also relieving stress and anxiety. Another thing you could do is hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy allows you to process your feelings of anger or sadness related to menopause in a safe environment where you aren't judged for how you feel about those emotions. It taps into your subconscious mind, allowing you to tap into your inner resources so that you can find ways to cope with the symptoms of menopause. For example, during a session, you may be asked to imagine that you're stepping into a cool sea or you feel a cool breeze, and then you're coached into self hypnosis so that you can learn to visualize that same body cooling sensation when you get a hot flash, for instance, in everyday life, leading to the actual relief of the symptoms that you're actually experiencing. So, the next method is cognitive behavioral therapy, otherwise known as CBT. This is a type of psychotherapy that helps people to deal with their feelings by changing their thought patterns. CBT can help you to learn how to cope with the emotional ups and downs that come with menopause. And we all know we get loads of those, don't we? Oh, I did. Because menopause related symptoms are caused by changes in our hormones. So our hormones go up and down haphazardly, and the neurotransmitters in the brain. CBD does, it helps us to regulate these chemicals, as well as teaching us coping strategies for dealing with the physical symptoms that are caused by menopause. It teaches us to identify and challenge this negative thoughts that we may be causing to feel anxious or depressed. It also teaches you how to replace these negative thoughts with more realistic and positive ones. This is because it focuses on the links between the physical symptoms, our thoughts, our feelings, and the behavior. The way we think about symptoms in certain situations tends to affect how we feel and what we do. And these reactions can in turn increase the intensity of our bodily reaction. So it's good when you're wanting to be a little bit more in control. And we can't manage what's outside our environment, but we can certainly manage ourselves. So this is what CBT focuses on. And the last method I'm going to look at it today is actually when you go and see a naturopath. So a naturopath is a health professional who takes into account your unique circumstances and your needs, and they work with you to develop a specifically tailored plan to manage your symptoms. They also advise on lifestyle changes that can help reduce stress levels, increase your energy levels, and improve your overall health. They provide a high level of emotional and educational support, and they can include things like nutrition, nutraceuticals, botanical medicine. They look at your lifestyles, so they can look at maybe just lifestyle changes. And there's counseling as well if you need it, hormone therapy, as well as some pharmaceuticals. So they really look holistically at everything that can help you to manage your symptoms. that you can use natural treatments like herbs to help you with your symptoms. Some of them have been used for thousands of years, mostly by some Asian women. They use black cohosh, wild yam root, licorice root, and they've all been shown to have some benefits of menopausal symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats. And even things like lavender can help you go to sleep. But if you're seeing a doctor for anything medical, I do advise that you go and speak to them before you start taking any of these natural treatments, only to make sure that they don't counteract with the medicine that you're taking. So it's good to know that they're there, and it's good to just have a check to see that whatever you take is not going to have effect on something else that you're being treated for. So this list is by no means exhaustive, and all these people may never make all the symptoms go away completely, but it's about managing them. So you can get your old life back, which by the way isn't really ever going to happen, but kind of feel a little bit more normal rather than feeling out of whack, as my nephew says, just feeling like you have no control about what's going on. But I guess my suggestion to you is, why not start asking questions like, what do you want? What would make you happy? And how can you take care of yourself instead of waiting around for someone else to do it for you? And then just go and do it. That's my advice. That brings us to the end of session 4 of Meno Mondays. And next time, I've got a surprise guest for you. And the reason I'm bringing on this guest, even though we're going through all this, having menopause symptoms, we don't live in isolation. And it affects those we live with, particularly our partners and our children. If you've still got children at home, like I do, I have teenagers. So I've got a daughter in the house who is 15. So she's got her own hormonal problems. I have my own hormonal problems. So that's quite a challenge. So it's good to speak to somebody who can talk about how do we navigate our relationships through menopause. So it's really an exciting one. Bring your partners along, encourage them to listen on how they can help and support you as you go through menopause. Or tag and share someone, and listen to it on their own. So I just wanted to say have a lovely week, and I will see you next week with my surprise guest. Bye for now.